Bloody hell, Hermione. They've only gone and made another Harry Potter film. It's pronounced Fantastic Beasts and How to Exploit a Fandom, not Harry Potter. F***ing hell. We are going to talk about the Elon Musk, the Grimes of Grindelwald, by which I mean the Pines of Spindlebald. I feel like I need to preface this by saying I'm not like the world's biggest Harry Potter fan. I've seen some like reviews and articles about me where people say like, she's a huge Harry Potter fan, and this is not true. I do like Harry Potter. I like the first 3.5 books, and I really like the world, and then I like the fandom. I think Harry Potter has the best, maybe, in the world fandom. They make so much cool stuff, and it makes me go, wow, that's a cool world. And I feel like they deserve better than what they get. I know some of you guys like Fantastic Beasts. Somehow you like this series. I think it is so bad, and I am gonna explain why. But if you are a Harry Potter fan and you love it, great. I'm so happy for you. This is for everyone else. Oh, I should say, actually, rewind. It's very important that you know there's going to be big spoilers in this video, and you can't be mad at me if this gets spoiled for you, and that's annoying because I'm telling you right now there's going to be spoilers. If you don't want to be spoiled, don't watch it yet. Watch it afterwards. So we need to start with the magic, because Harry Potter is about a wizarding world where people, this is my wand that I'm dictating this to you guys with. Harry Potter is it's about magic. I think that's undisputed. And I noticed when I watched Fantastic Beasts, the first one, that there wasn't really any magic. Like, they fired their wands a bunch of times and like, pew, 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 like their wands had become guns. And there was a moment when Quinny made a apple strudel, and that was very magical. And then other than that, I was like, where is the magic? There were these beasts. There weren't any spells. There was no magic. It kind of reminded me of that time they released the first Harry Potter film, and somehow Harry Potter did not cast a single spell in the film. That is a fact. You can look that up. He tries to cast Wingardium Leviosa and he fails. Wingardium Leviosa. That is it. He casts not a single spell in that film. It's the same thing. So I thought maybe the Spines of Spindlebald would be better because, you know, like they could only improve. But I was wrong. So we meet Spindlebald, and he's played by everyone's favorite actor of the time, Johnny Depp, and he looks great. I think they were going for like a sexy thing because they wanted him to be appealing. They're really pushing the appealing edge of this like Nazi psychopath to show you, oh, you could have fallen for his tricks. You could have joined the dark side, but I'm not really seeing the appeal myself. Yeah, let's go through some of the new iconic characters we've met who we're gonna remember forever because they're so iconic. There was Bunty, I think that was her name. She shows up for like 3 seconds, and she works in Newt Scamander's Beasts factory, and she gets like sexually aroused by some water splashing on her, and that's really her big moment. I don't know if David Yates literally said, hey, you don't really have an important role in this film, but we're not going to edit you out because we don't, J.K. Rowling won't let us edit anything, so we have to keep you in here. So he was like, just like be sexually aroused by everything because that's a character, and they had to keep her in. So she, new great character, my favorite of the whole film, probably. Oh, we had, what was his name? This is already going so well. I'm gonna Google it. We had Yusuf Kama. Sorry, yes.
Because who the fuck's that guy? Sorry, yeah. Go on, sorry.
We have Yusuf Kama, who shows up inexplicably to give a character from Fantastic Beasts a plotline, because you could probably remove her. Tina! These characters are all so important. I realized 2 hours after I saw the film, I was like, there's something really bugging me about Tina. And it was that you could have removed her from this film and all of the same plot points would have happened. And I feel, again, like this could have been solved by editing. But I know after book 4, J.K. Rowling, goddess of the Harry Potter universe, lord of all, you couldn't really edit anything anymore. You're not allowed to edit anything J.K. Rowling does. That's the rules. You're not allowed to. You're just not allowed. It's against the law. Again, I just feel like Tina's plotline could have been fixed with some editing of the script, but you're not allowed to do that. Yeah, so we had this guy, Yusuf Kama, and it's not... There's no good way of saying this. So we have this character called Nagini, who we all know and love from the original Harry Potter films. The snake, the beloved, lovable scamp. And at some point, J.K. Rowling was like, my book is diverse. You just weren't looking hard enough. You weren't looking. It's your fault that it's not diverse. Which is weird, because she can just be like, if I was writing these books now, I would have made them more diverse, and I'm happy for you guys to retcon this and make some of these characters more diverse in future films and future productions like they did with Hermione. But she outright was like, no, they were always diverse. You just didn't notice. I'm God of Harry Potter and can do no wrong. So that's what happened. So yeah, we had this character Nagini, which was basically just like, she's cool. Like, it's kind of fun that Nagini was a person all along, and it makes sense they would join Voldemort when they turned into a snake forever. Because as a maledictus, that means that only Voldemort can understand what they're saying, and you don't want to be lonely. So I don't mind that as a twist. It is weird that she was like, I actually had an Asian woman in my books all along, you guys. But whatever, like, fine. I'm not that mad about it. But then we have this new thing. It turns out that we've got like a bunch of black people in the Lestrange family. Like, cool. We've got Leda Lestrange, and she's a black woman. I'm like, that's great. Like, it's really fun to diversify this series a bit. Oh, but then you find out why. And it's as bad as the Nagini thing, because with Nagini it was like she was this slave to a circus and a freak. And it's like, oh, bit awkward that you diversify the cast and they're like a slave and a freak show, but gonna push through. And then it turns out that the reason we have a black Lestrange is because Mr. Evil Lestrange saw this hot black witch who was Yusuf Kama's mum and was like, she's hot, I'm having her as my slave wife. And I wish I was lying, but that's literally the plot. So he magicked her, they said the name of the child, I don't remember, and had her as his slave wife, and she died in childbirth, giving birth to Leta Lestrange. And like, that's right, like I didn't make that up, did I? I'm not tarnishing this in a way that is like a lie. Like, that really was the plot. Yeah, okay, that was the plot. That is actually truly the plot. Yusuf Kama, his character, basically, he wants revenge against Mr. Lestrange for killing his mum, and that's fair, that's fine. Mr. Lestrange did a terrible thing, so he wants to kill the thing that Mr. Lestrange loves the most, which turns out, possibly, maybe, is Credence. Like, possibly Credence is his son. All of this is kind of like the opposite of The Last Jedi, in that The Last Jedi was like, we're not going to make any of these characters related to other characters. We're going to expand the universe.
They were nobody.
They were filthy junk traders who sold you off for drinking money.
And this is making the universe as small as possible. Everything has to be a wink and a nod to Harry Potter, the actual good series. Yeah, Credence was maybe a Lestrange, but then they were like, no, he's not a Lestrange. He's Dumbledore's brother. And everyone in the cinema kind of was just looked at each other, sort of confused. There was like a collective, oh, he's supposed to know who that is? Because they said his first name, and everyone was like, do we know that guy? Is that like someone we should be aware of? I don't know, so I googled him and no, he doesn't exist. I guess that's expanding the universe a bit, but it just seems bizarre. There's one more character, new guy, who is Newt's brother, and he's fine. Like, he was fine. Did he add to the plot in any way at all? Oh, that's the thing. Yes, no, he was bad. It was bad. It was very bad. It's all coming back to me now. So Theseus is Newt's brother, and he's so nice to him. Right at the start of the film, he's trying to help him get a job, and this will mean that Newt can travel around the world again because he's got the travel ban, which is a really nice thing for him to do. And he's now engaged to Letta Lestrange, and it was a mistake that Newt was engaged to her. That was a really fun way of retconning that, wasn't it? It's like they just changed their mind. They were like, oh, actually, we don't want Newt to be engaged. This is too complicated. We'll just pretend it was a mistake, and actually he's, not, it's his brother that's getting married to Lestrange. Do you think that's what happened? Because that's probably what happened. So he's super nice all the way through. And then all of a sudden, there's this scene. They're escaping from the ministry in Paris, and they full body bind him with a spell.
Petrificus totalis.
And he says, I've been wanting to do that my whole life. As if Theodorus, whatever his name was a really bad brother, like horrible to him. But he's been nothing but nice to him the whole way through, and it really made Newt seem like a bit of an asshole. And I felt the same way about Newt in the first film. Like, I almost love him as a character, but he was going on about how his beasts were in danger when they were rampaging New York and literally making people homeless. He was like, I'm worried about them because they're up against the evilest thing of all, which is man.
It turns out it's man.
But no, they weren't. Like, they were just ruining people's houses and killing people and causing destruction all over New York City. And he was responsible for that. And I didn't feel sorry for the beasts at all, or him. I was very worried about the citizens of New York. So I don't get it. Sometimes Newt seems like a really bad guy. Other than new characters, we have a new tone to this film, which is grey. We have a solid grey theme throughout. There are moments where you think, oh, there's going to be some colour now, like when they go to the circus. But you would be wrong. They were very committed to their grey theming. I don't think there was a single colour. In fact, it might have been a black and white film. Maybe. It's hard to know. There was a lot of talking. There was a lot of people standing around talking to each other in this film, which is supposed to be about magic. A lot of zapping with their wands without actually casting any spells. So it's very hard to know, like, what is a wizard's power? Can they just, like, fire powerful beams of magic out of their wands? And even those weren't colourful. But there was something I liked. I really liked the new beasts. Which is good, because that's apparently the whole direction this film is going in. It's all about the beasts. I wonder if it's supposed to be like the Fantastic Beast is Spindlebald all along. The Fantastic Beasts were the friends we made along the way. Where was I? Yeah, the new beasts were cool. The beast world in which Newt works in is really cool. I will give them that. It's interesting. Doesn't really add anything to the plot as usual. They did find a way to insert nifflers for no reason at all when Newt leaves to go to Paris to find Tina and Credence. He's like, I'm bringing the nifflers with me. There's no reason for it. But then right at the end, the niffler sneakily steals the Johnny Depp's magic heart pendulum. So it turns out that was all a plot device. Excellently seeded plot device.
Can I correct you before you go any further? I think there was a reason to take them, and I think the reason was...
They kept escaping?
You know when they were in the street at the start, he sort of sent them out, like they could sniff out... I don't know. It didn't make any sense.
But there was maybe more of a reason. Okay, so we're getting information fed to me here that I might be wrong about the nifflers, and that I just missed that he can get them to go and sniff out information, possibly. I'm not 100% sure of that, so maybe there's more of a reason that he brought the nifflers with him. But right now we're going to talk about the big finale, the big ending moment of this film, which is the big climax, and I was like, please give me a drop of magic. I'm begging you. I was really grayed out at this point. It had just been a lot of talking. Somebody had walked out of the cinema. They had gotten so bored, and I did not blame them, but I had to get through it because I had to make this video. So Grindalwald gives this amazing speech about how awful the humans are and they can't be left up to their devices.
It turns out it's man.
And wizards need to intervene, and they need to come out into the public and keep everything in check, and everything needs to merge, humans and wizards. And he has some names for us. So the names are Nomage, Muggle, and Can't Spell. He goes, the Muggles, the Nomages, the Can't Spells, the Dyslexics, the Dyspraxics. And I honestly sat there, I was like, what? Who wrote this? Who let J.K. Rowling keep this in? Why? The Can't Spell. So that's the name for non-magical people. Can't spells because they can't spell. Oh yeah, it turns out nobody does spells in Harry Potter world anymore. Everyone just pew 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 pew. Fires their wand like a gun. There's a lot of like serious music at this point, and I always found the soundtrack in Fantastic Beasts is really bizarre. There'll be moments when it swells as if something amazing and magical is happening, but nothing is happening. You'll just have a big clock on the screen. And that's supposed to be your big swelling musical moment. So we've got all this sad music, and at one point some young girl dies. She's like a cute redhead, and she dies. It's tragic, and Pindlespald goes over and he's like, take this girl back to her family. And it's really dark, like a young woman has just died. And then suddenly the music's like, do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do, because the Niffler pops out and steals his heart of justice. And it's do-do-do-do-do-do-do, Niffler up no good. And someone has just died, and everyone's supposed to be laughing. It's bad editing. There was one really good bit in this film, and this cannot be overlooked. Like, people have to accept that this was really good. We get to see a little bit of the homosexual relationship between Dumbledore and Speedly Spop, and they do this blood pact. And I feel like, as a queer person myself who has engaged in queer sexual relationships, it's important that everyone knows that that is how gay people have sex. So, we knife our hands and we make blood. That's how gay people have sex. Yeah, you don't see any of the homosexual relationship. That's a big lie. There's barely even a hint.
There's like, he was more than a brother.
They say he was more than a brother because they were blood brothers. Yeah, that's how gay people have sex. Yeah, bad. Things I liked. So I liked some of the new beasts. And I liked the flashbacks. I liked when they went to Hogwarts. I liked when you got to see some students having fun using magic, and it wasn't just a bunch of adults in a grey field talking about stuff and not using any spells in a movie that's supposed to be about wizards. Is no one else feeling this? The severe lack of magic in this magical universe? And it just got me thinking, why is this a movie about these sad adults being sad in a black and white universe where the only magic they ever seem to use is gunfire at the end of their wands, instead of about some of them when they were younger and what Hogwarts was like back in the day or even in the future? The whole point of Harry Potter is it's this childlike wonder of this magical universe, and now it's just bleak and bad. And so that's the Spines of Spindlebald. So I wrote down some lines from the movie that I thought they could use as taglines for the posters. And the first one is, "You might not want to watch this." And the second is, "At last, we have some development." And that's it. That's all I have to say about that. If you enjoyed this rant about the Spindles of Spindlesbald, you can support me on Patreon. This video doesn't count as a Patreon video, really, because it's not an essay. I only charge people for the essay videos, which is like once a month. And if you want to support me for that, pew 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 pew, go and do that.